Greetings from Santorini, Greece, where I've spent the past 11 days almost totally out of contact with my 8-figure company. And in this video, I want to walk you through very simply some of the easy things that you can do that I see most business owners overlooking when it comes to structuring your company so that I can not only maintain but grow without you. So my first recommendation to all business owners or entrepreneurs out there are to keep things incredibly simple inside of your company. This is a major mistake that I see most business owners make, where they have multiple different offers, they have multiple different products, they have multiple different marketing channels, they have multiple different websites, they have multiple different traffic sources, and they wonder why they're not really getting anywhere. I've actually sat down and spoken with a lot of my good friends and even clients that are doing $3, $4, $5 million every single month, and they're doing that with one single product at one price point through one traffic source or channel. And then I look at other people who have 7, 8, 9, 10 different products, they have 5 different traffic sources, and they're not even scraping $50,000 a month, and they always wonder why. So if you actually want to remove yourself from your company, you have to first start it as simple as possible. The mistake that I see is people create almost like a mess of a company because they're just trying to figure things out in the very beginning. And when they do that and they finally decide they want to hire somebody, which I'm going to talk about here in a moment, they try to hand the reins off to somebody where it's just a total disaster. They go, well, what am I supposed to do? And the guy goes, I don't really know what's working, so we're just going to have to do all of it. One of the ways I've been able to actually remove myself and travel and not have to check in with my team constantly is that I've kept things incredibly simple inside the business. My second recommendation is to build departments one A player at a time. When I first started actually building my team, I honestly was relying on a lot of low-level, really inexpensive talent. I was trying to save money, and I think that got me to a certain point. But even back 3, 4 years ago when I was traveling and living abroad in Europe, I was still the bottleneck in my company, and that was because I was the only person that could really problem solve. All the people that I hired, they were doers. They were just listening to what I said, but then if something went wrong, they had to come right up the chain of command, and I was the direct point of contact, and so they had asked me the question, and I had to respond back. One of the ways that I've been able to be totally off the grid and have my company still producing 8 figures while I'm gone is that I've actually created departments that are run by A players, by leaders who then hire the doers underneath them. So I am no longer the direct line of communication between myself and the doers inside of our company. And because of that, when somebody's doing something and a problem obviously arises, as it always does in business, they bring it up to the team leader, and the team leader handles it and answers the question without bothering me at all. Or they make their best estimated guess as what I would do in that situation. And this also matters whenever I'm not traveling. It doesn't matter if I'm at home working in my office doing a 14, 15-hour day. They know that they shouldn't bother me for trivial things when I'm trying to do major things for the company that moves the company forward. So all of my department heads, they have the ability to hire whoever they want to hire. They don't have to ask my permission. They have the ability to give raises. They have the ability to fire without asking my permission. And they have the ability to decide what we should be doing, when we should be doing it without my permission. I meet with my department heads every single Friday, which has been the only meeting that I've done since I've been in Greece, which has been about 7 days now. Was just my Friday team meeting, and that was just to check in, and everybody gives me pretty much a synopsis of where we're at now. But what this allows me to do is remove myself from the day-to-day decision making inside the company, and about 98% of the time that allows me to work on the company, building sales letters, VSLs, maybe thinking about creating a new product, doing joint ventures. But every once in a while, like it is right here, it allows me to totally unplug from the company and enjoy myself while I'm traveling. My third recommendation is to have a living, breathing company document. What I mean by this is that most people create standard operating procedures one time inside their company, and then they're done with it. They put it inside some Google Drive, and nobody ever references it, so everybody's always asking the same questions over and over again inside their company Slack channel. What we do is we create a living, breathing document inside of our company that is always being updated with questions from our team members. So, for example, we might be onboarding a new team member, and they might say something like, hey, how do I get the link to this certain sales page? Or what do I do whenever a client says this? And all they can do is go inside the correct company document inside of Google Drive and actually find the answer to that, which was probably just answered 2 or 3 weeks ago. A mistake I see a lot of entrepreneurs or founders do is that they repeat themselves over and over and over and over again, and they never think, maybe I should build some kind of asset in place that replaces me from having to answer these questions. So as you're training and ramping team members, even if they're senior team members as well, there are always going to be new things that pop up. But what you can do is create a document that answers these questions, most frequently asked questions, gives them procedures in order to take place. And if you're an expert at this, what you'll also do is teach them how to think. Let me give you a great example. When I was talking with my chief marketing officer, we were talking about whenever we're scaling advertising spend, because we spend 6 figures a month on advertising spend. I was telling him, okay, when I'm running ads, typically if it's anything below 1.2 return on investment, we're going to cut the ads off. If it's anything between 1.2 and 1.6 times cash return on investment, then we're going to maintain the ads as they are right now. So we're not going to spend, we're not going to decrease, increase, and hope for some of that cash to come kick in the back end. And for anything above 1.6 times cash return on investment, we are going to keep on scaling, because if you're spending $500,000 a month in ads and you're making 1.6 times back on that, that's a significant amount of money in profit for your company every single month. But if you just always kept that, like I was before, in my head, I had my own kind of standard operating procedures, then they would never know how to act when that situation arises. And now that I gave them the ability to think whenever something like that happens, they don't need to message me and tell me, hey, our return on ad spend is 1.7, can I increase ad budget? Instead, they just simply do it. And my final tip for those out there looking to fully remove themselves from their business is to understand that there will always be some level of chaos. I always tried to control everything inside my business. I wanted everything to be organized, every Slack message answered, every single client happy, everything working the way it's supposed to be working whenever I wasn't there. And what I realized is that that's actually impossible. If you have built a decently successful business and you're watching this video, then you probably already know that there is almost never a time where everything's just smooth sailing. There's no problems at all. Everything's great. All the clients are happy. All the traffic sources are working well, and all your salespeople are performing and nobody's asking for a raise or trying to quit. Unfortunately, or fortunately, depending on how you look at this, I see it as a game. And what happens is there's always new obstacles that are coming up. And so if you always try to solve all those obstacles as soon as it happens, or you let it pull you away from different things in your life, I think you'll always be constantly stressed out. You'll always be trying to solve problems. And what I have realized over the past few years is that number one, there are priorities of the problems that you should solve. So there are some problems and fires that happen inside my company that I don't need to solve right away. I might not need to solve for 7 days, 14 days, 30 days, or I may never need to try to solve it. And I just let the problem play itself out the way that it should. Or the second option is that when I actually am presented with a problem inside the company, that I understand that it is okay, that it is fine, there's a problem going on, and I'm not going to let it derail my entire day. It's not uncommon, or it wasn't uncommon a few years ago when I was living internationally, that I would start my day and then I'd be hit with a fire inside the business. A client complained, something went wrong, an ad account got shut down, and I would just let it totally derail my entire day. I wouldn't be able to focus, I wouldn't be able to pay attention to what I was doing, and I wouldn't be able to enjoy the fact that I'm literally traveling around the world living an incredible life. And instead, I'd be so sucked into the problem of the moment. And now what I understand is that no matter what, there's no perfect system, there's no perfect business, there's no perfect offer, there's no perfect team members, and so things will always pop up. And I pay attention to the big problems and I solve them as soon as I can, but anything that's outside of that scope, I either let it play out as it is, or I just accept the problem and move on.